Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. In the last part we got all of our stuff back from the Tokays, and it got us into level 3, the Moonlit Grotto, rather. And now we're gonna do this entire place, actually. Now these enemies here are the Pole's voice, you might remember them from Zelda 1. And that they're weak to sound, which you couldn't use in Zelda 1 due to reasons, but here, we can. Otherwise you need to use bombs to kill them, but the harp is just so much easier. In fact, in Ages, excluding bombs, there's 2 ways to kill them, but in Seasons, there's only the 1 way, including bombs. Now, this place, from a concept, is actually more complicated than the previous 2 dungeons, but it's actually easier overall, in my opinion. Got some new enemies here, if I recall correctly, mini Moldorms. You might remember these guys from, yeah, they were in Minish Cap, and, Link to the Past, even. Then we got these guys, who are also in Minish Cap. I forget what they're called, I've just always called them Iron Masks. But you can only hit them from behind, for now, at least. Anyway, one thing you're going to want to do in this room is destroy that. Whenever you see a blue jewel like that, find a way to destroy it, because it's necessary to complete the dungeon. Yet you can't walk over it once you destroy it, which I find kind of stupid. And that is the little rotation wheel. What happens is that when you step on it, it takes you in the direction that it's pointing. However, after you use it once, the direction it goes in reverses, so you need to keep that in mind for puzzle solving. There's quite a few of those in this game, but in Seasons there's only 1 if I recall. This room's kind of complicated, or at least it seems like it as much on paper. What you need to do is constantly destroy all of the breakable blocks. Well, not all of them, but a majority of them. Your main goal at the end of it all is the blue crystal, because they can only be destroyed by your sword and 1 other item we haven't gotten yet. Which may or may not be the dungeon item, so you need to keep that in mind. But that's not the end of this room. After you do that, you're going to want to do this. Because, as we all know, when there's something asymmetrical in a dungeon in any RPG, you must then try to make it symmetrical. In Zelda especially. And for doing that, you get a small key. So that's fine and dandy. I will admit, a lot of this dungeon is actually circling around those little rotation platforms, because, they're not... Well, they get clever with them later on. For here, they are kind of unclever, if that's a word. But what we need to do right now is fall to our death. Fun little fact, by the way. I take all these enemies without even looking at the screen because my cat distracted me for a couple seconds. I'm not sure how I did that all on instinct, but I guess I did. Anyway, what you want to do in this room is take out this Moldorm via slashing at it over the fence. Don't use your bombs yet. You're going to need to do that later. And in here we got more Pole's voices, if we know what to do with them. Also, these have bombs if you need them. Hear my beautiful melody of death. My god, am I that terrible at the harp? Anyway, here's where you need to use the bombs to kill that Moldorm. Well, actually, no, not quite yet. Wait a couple extra minutes. Here's the next crystal we need to destroy. Along with, some, gels that you don't need to kill. Anyway, now we can kill that Moldorm. My bad. And he's pretty easy to hit, actually. Due to how enclosed of an area that is, hitting people isn't that hard. Oh, this is annoying. You need to get that bomb to hit that switch from afar. And it's unexpectedly hard to do. But for doing that, we actually awaken an Armos Knight. These guys at this point are invulnerable to everything but bombs. So, you can kind of tell what we have to do. They go down in 1 hit, thankfully. But for doing that, we get the compass, so that's where that is. And now we're actually just to west of the entrance again. Oh gee, I wonder what I do here. It's not like symmetry is the key to everything. Just push the blocks where they should go fairly obviously, and you get a small key. And now I cut back to this room because, well, this is where I kind of need to go. What I'm now doing is the first circling around the little rotation platform. From here on out, I'm actually going to be using a transition to skip past me doing this. Like, I'll show me start doing it, but then I'll cut back to the other side because, well, saves time. And there's the 4th crystal, but we can't quite do anything about that yet. Oh, I hate this room. What we need to do here is kill all 4 Armoses. However, you have very few bombs at this point. They move around randomly, and if you lose all your bombs, you have to leave the room to replenish them. But leaving the room causes them to respawn, so you need to do it all in one go. So I cut to my successful attempt, which took me about 2 minutes. And here we have a bit of a legacy enemy. The floor attacks you here. What you can do is either slash at the tiles to destroy them, or you can actually block them with your shield. I recommend the sword for if you stand in certain positions, but otherwise use the shield. It is kind of funny to see them try to hit you, but fail every time. Well, almost every time. How did he hit me? Seriously. Anyway, and here we actually have those little beetle enemies like that. Now you might be wondering, how do you spot them? They look exactly the same as the other bushes. You are correct, for the most part. If you look carefully at all the normal bushes, you can see that around them they actually have a purely solid colored square due to the fact that Sprite is overlapping it. However, the beetles have the actual floor texture beneath them, so you can actually see which ones are which. I'm not sure how I noticed that in my first playthrough, but I did. And here we got 30 rupees. That's nice. I didn't even mean to actually read the description there. And here's a loop back to this room if you need it. I'm not really going to, but it's there if you need it, I suppose. Well, we can't do anything about that torch, can we? Yet. Now, we have a new enemy here. I think they're just called mimics. What they do is that they mimic your button inputs in the opposite. So say if you're holding up, they will go down. However, they're really easy to kill, especially considering when you're constantly slashing, your button inputs are still counted by them, so you can make them walk right into your sword if you know what you're doing. And for doing that, we get the dungeon item, the Seed Shooter. We can pick seeds and fire them, watch them ricochet. Pretty much, it's an alternative to the Seed Satchel. What you do is you go into the start menu, select the Seed Shooter, select your bean type, or seed type, and fire. You can go in all 8 directions, and they will ricochet a couple times upon use. This is used for a lot of long-range puzzles, obviously. And with it, we can do some more stuff around, like, where are we going first? I forget. Oh, right, we're circling this thing again, if I recall correctly. Yes, we are. So now we're back up here because we can hit the 4th gem with the Seed Shooter. Just stand around here, face that direction, and you should hit it. And upon killing the 4th gem, something heavy fell from down below. Or something heavy fell down below, rather. And what is it? Well, if we go down here, we see the rotation platform has moved. Instead, we have a chest that has a Gasha seed in it. Clearly, the Gasha seed's the more important thing here. Because I need that piece of heart. But what really happened to the rotational platform is, as they just mentioned, something heavy fell down below. The rotation platform fell down to here. And now we have this room. This room's entirely optional, actually. What you have to do here is move these 3 blocks right here and try to light up the torches using ember seeds. This isn't easy, so it takes me a couple minutes to do this correctly. Upon doing it, all you get is a Gasha seed, so it is entirely optional, though, so yeah. And now we're back in this room. We actually have to do nothing in here. We're done in this room. What we now have to do is actually circle around on the rotation platform, if I recall correctly. So, let's go do that. Yet again, I'll be cutting out any future circles. And we're actually coming up on the mini-boss. By the way, the Ember Seeds can now shoot P-Hats even when they're in the air. That's awesome. And there's spare bombs if you need them, but you don't need them at all, actually. Because the mini-boss is only weak to the shovel. That's right, the shovel. This guy can only be dug up from the surface via the shovel. As soon as you get him up to the surface using the shovel, you can just go all out against him. By the way, this guy's name is... Ooh, what was it? Give me a second, I shall find this. He's obviously really, really easy. Considering I think he's about to die now. I called that and I wasn't even looking at my editor. Sweet. Let's see, this guy's name is Subterror. Or was. And now we're in this room. Not much to really do in this room. First off, there's the boss door over there. But what we're here for is to move this over here so we can get a small key. We'll be back for the boss door later. Like, really, later. Where we have to go now is actually circle around the thing, I believe. Let me check my notes. Maybe? Wait, no, actually. No, we have to head up north here. This room is fairly simple. Pretty much the switch, the red, blue switch, moves those little things just above the lever on the bottom right of the screen. See the thing to my right? The blue and red switch moves that, so you can hit the switch. This is pretty much just an introductory to this kind of mechanic, for not only for the game, but for the dungeon in particular. Because it's rather self-explanatory. You don't even have to do this second time. This is just for a 20 rupees, I want to say. Sweet, I remember that. I should mention, for the seed shooter, I recommend you use sense seeds and not ember seeds half the time, because sense seeds are rarely ever used, I'll be honest. Ember seeds actually have some amount of use to them, so yeah. Now here's the boss door, but we can't do anything with this yet. Because the keyhole, we don't have the key for it yet. However, since we used the rotation platform earlier, it's now in a different position. So let's go check that out, shall we? You know, I just realized that P-Hats kind of look like the boss warps. And just showing it off, this is where the chest is. It's rather self-explanatory how we get over there. And here we are, somewhat. This is a fairly simple puzzle. All we have to do is step on this button twice, and aim our ember seeds correctly so they go in between the two platforms. I think you could do it from the first position, but I prefer to do it from that one. And over here we get the boss key. So now what I'm going to do is actually cut back to the boss room to save you guys about a minute and a half time. Oh, great, this boss. This is the Shadow Hag. She's actually a really easy boss. In fact, I think she's easier than the first boss. The way she works is that, first off, she splits into these four little shadows, and after a while, she recomposes herself. She'll then teleport around the room, sending little butterflies out, which disappear after a while. And then she'll reform right behind you, where you need to shoot a seed at the wall in front of you, and then have it bounce back into her to do damage. If you turn around to face her at any point, she will disappear. You cannot hit her with a sword at all in this fight. In fact, the Power Ring level 2 is rather useless here. Thankfully, I don't have it equipped. One thing you need to watch out for her, though, is that she hurts. But she goes down rather quickly. I think she only takes 6 shots. Yeah, she's really simple. I do like her design, though. She reminds me of the hermits from Minish Cap. And that's heart container number 7. And essence number 3. You got the echoing howl, an essence of time. It echoes far across the plains to speak to the insolent hearts. Does that actually mean anything, really? Because all these are MacGuffins that help us through plot. Whoa, lightning! Hello. Ambi's tower will soon be complete. Once Ambi's tower is done, history shall remember me as the greatest queen of queens. Greatest queen of queens. Yes, that's redundant, Kaio. What? Wow, they got a lot done in the past 2 dungeons. They're actually not going to do much more progress at the game. Hello, Maketree. How are you? Stalking me as usual? Link, you have the echoing howl. But things aren't going well. The Black Tower's nearing completion in the past. Terrible things will happen if you don't hurry. I hear an essence echoing from the peaks northwest of Lina City. Can you go? Well, I don't see why not, considering it's a game and I have to do it for plot. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in Part 8, we'll be heading towards those peaks. But not before doing some other things first, if I recall correctly. See you guys then.